Hello and welcome to this video on the RC Biker channel. Thanks very much for tuning in as always. Today I'm going to be showing you how to break in the engine of your HPI Nitro car, featuring in this video the HPI Trophy 4.6. However, according to HPI, this process will work for any HPI RC model. So engine breaking in is essential to ensure long life of your engine and to ensure that you have good compression throughout its life. What we're looking to achieve is a good fit between the engine piston and liner. Therefore it's essential that you follow this procedure as I explain in this video to ensure that you get the most out of your RC car, because they're not cheap, are they? So as per HPI's manual for the 4.6 and for other HPI cars as well, we need to allow the engine to idle for 2 full tanks. The wheels shouldn't be spinning, but if they are spinning, that's okay. Just have the wheels off the ground, so have the car sat on a box or something like that. Once you've allowed the engine to sit for 2 full tanks, then you can move on to driving the car at no more than half throttle. On the 5th tank, after those 2 tanks of driving at half throttle, we can start to tune the engine lightly. So, I've already started the engine. If you'd like to see how to start it for the first time, I'll pop a link down in the description below where you can view the out-of-box video and first start of the Trophy 4.6, which will give you more information about how to start it for the very first time. So we're picking up now on the 1st tank where the engine is sat, just wheels off the ground. Wheels are spinning slightly, I'll show you in a second. I'm going to do that for 2 full tanks. What you're looking for throughout those 2 tanks and throughout the whole of the breaking in procedure is possibly a little bit of fuel coming out of the exhaust pipe, because that tells you that you're running the engine at a nice rich setting, which is really good when it's new because it means that you've got lots of lubrication and oil going through. Secondly, you might notice blue smoke. Again, that tells you the same thing. Fuel spitting out of the exhaust and blue smoke, nice rich setting. So let me go and show you the car idling for the 2 full tanks. Between the tanks I'm going to allow the engine to cool off for 5 to 10 minutes before refilling and starting again. So let's go and have a look, and when these tanks are done we'll move on to the 3rd and 4th tank. Allow that one to sing now for 2 full tanks as per the instructions. The more fuel it runs through it, the more reliable you'll find the engine will run. So at the moment on that one, it doesn't really like going down to an idle lower than what it is at the moment. So I'm just allowing those wheels to spin a little bit, which is absolutely fine because the wheels are held above the ground. And that's important. If the wheels are trying to spin and the wheels are on the ground, then firstly it's going to try to start run away from you, and if you stop it from running away, you risk burning out your clutch, which you don't really want to be doing. So if the wheels are spinning, that's okay, as long as they're spinning just a little bit, which mine are, have the wheels above the ground. Okay, so I'll see you guys in about half an hour when that's finished idling through 2 full tanks, and I'll see you in about half an hour's time when it's time to move on to tank 3 and 4, which as per HPI's manual means that we start doing about half throttle, not exceeding half throttle, for a further 2 tanks. Then on to the end of that I'm just going to add a 5th tank where I'm just going to start tuning out the engine a little bit. Catch you shortly. Okay, great. So as you saw there, I've just allowed the engine to idle through 2 full tanks as per HPI's manual. On the 3rd and 4th tank, the manual states that we need to drive around not exceeding half throttle. Okay, now that's all HPI says. The manual then goes on to refer to tuning. So what I'm going to do is 3 more tanks that I'm going to consider the break-in. The next 2 I'm going to do as HPI say, not exceeding half throttle. And then on the 5th and final tank of the break-in process, I'm just going to start some gentle tuning. So just getting the engine leaned out a little bit for performance. However, 5 tanks is still very new. So after 5 tanks, we don't want to go crazy on it, you know. So I'm just allowing the engine to cool off a little bit. Now it's time to start driving the car now for the next couple of tanks. So we need to make sure that if you haven't already checked it, you need to check that the radio system is working properly. And we also need to make sure that we're in an open area that's suitable to run these cars safely. Okay, So, engine now is cooled off, or cooled off a little bit, you know. So now I'm going to start up the engine, and then I'm going to drive around just freeform, however I like, not exceeding half throttle, okay? I'm going to do lots of bursts of the throttle, and you're going to notice a nice bit of blue smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe as well. And that's good, because where there's smoke, there's a fire, and where there's fire, there's heat. So that means we are getting the heat out of the engine, pumping the throttle to get the fuel through, keeping the engine nice and lubricated. So let's fire him up. Now, towards the end of that second tank there, you probably notice it's already starting to be a lot more reliable in terms of the RPM. So let's fire him up then and move on to tank 3 and 4. So just up to half throttle. Lots of blue smoke there. Lots of blue smoke. Just up to half throttle, just pumping that gas round. Just to help the engine reach a higher RPM, I'm actually going to lean out the high end needle a little bit, because at the moment it's running so rich that it's actually struggling to rev up. So I'm going to lean it out a little bit just to allow it to get to operating temperature and allow me to actually reach half throttle properly. Now for the next 2 tanks, and I'll see you guys on tank 5 when it's time to start tuning the engine a little bit. I will pop a link down in the description below where you can find more detailed tuning tutorials. So this process can feel a little bit boring, but two tanks idle, 2 tanks half throttle, just as I'm showing you now, followed by 1 tank which I'm adding onto the end, where I'm still going to take it easy, just reaching full throttle and starting to adjust the tuning a little bit. So I'll catch you guys in about 15 minutes time when it's time to move on to tank 5. See you shortly. So now I'm going to kind of add in like a 5th tank, so to speak, because 4 tanks isn't a lot at all, and I'm used to following a 5 tank standard braking process. So we're going to do a 5th tank. Now on this tank I want to reach full throttle, because we're going to have to at some point, aren't we? And also I'm going to start tuning the engine, okay? Now I'm not planning to adjust the low end needle. The only needle I'm going to adjust is the high end needle, because at the moment it's running very rich. And you know it's running very rich because we've got lots of blue smoke and it's not reaching a very high RPM. So I'm going to be turning the high speed needle 1/8 of a turn clockwise at a time. And after each adjustment you will notice an improvement in the performance. Okay, we are dodging the rain showers, so let's work quickly. So I'm going to refill the tank. It doesn't matter if it's just light rain, you know, these cars are designed for a little bit of water. I mean, it wouldn't be my preference to break in a brand new car in the rain, but I want to get this done because I want to be able to take this one bashing on the weekend. So I'm going to fire him back up, and I'm going to be turning the higher needle 1/8 of a turn clockwise at a time. After that, then I would consider the engine to be broken in. However, you still want to be taking it easy for a few tanks after that. Your 5 tanks isn't a lot, I would say, until you've run sort of 7, 8, 9 tanks through this thing. You know, you don't really want to push it because it is still a new engine. You want to look after these things, and then they will certainly look after you. And when it comes to reselling it, then it'll have a bigger resale value. Okay, so let's fire it up. I'm going to drive it up and down, reaching full throttle, observing the performance, and slowly starting to lean out that high end needle as well. So let's fire him back up. stuff. So as you can see there, the engine is now performing a lot better. I've just leaned out the high end a little bit, and just towards the end now I heard a little bit of low end bogging. So I've just richened the low speed just a little bit as well. The engine is still very new, so I'm going to be taking it really easy for the next couple of tanks, but I think it's almost ready for bashing. So I hope this video has been useful. I'll pop a link in the description below for a more detailed tuning tutorial where you can view a little bit more detailed information on tuning the Nitro engine. But for now, thanks very much for tuning in. Hope this has helped. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.